Hey there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittney Bundles, and today's video is going to be all about how to make money from your newsletter. And I might title it How to Make Easy Thousands from Your Newsletter, because this is something that has really helped me. And I admit I have not been the most consistent with sending out newsletters in the past until I put myself on a schedule. And when I put myself on a schedule, I really started to see an increase with my sales. I started to see an increase with the interactions that I was getting from potential customers and clients, meaning people that were reaching out, asking more questions. And I love when people reach out and ask questions. I always talk about opportunities. As entrepreneurs, business owners, you always want to be looking for an opportunity. And when people reach out with questions, I do mentoring with some people. And sometimes people are like, all I get are questions. I am so tired of people just asking questions and not purchasing. But a lot of times people asking questions, that's the initial, like, what can I say? Opportunity, or like the initial seed to actually bearing the fruit that you're wanting to see, which are sales. A lot of times it's a matter of us learning how to direct those questions, answer those questions, and direct the conversation in a way that's going to be not only constructive, not only informational, but also something that's going to give that person what they were looking for, or what they are looking for, or give them something to think about. And then also it's going to help us in securing more sales. I talk a lot on this channel about how sales are relationship based. In my opinion, a lot of people look at sales as just like transactional. I just want people to buy and leave, buy and leave. But a lot of times it takes more than that. And running an e-commerce store is no different. Although we're not face-to-face with a lot of our customers and clients all the time. You know, there may be the exceptions when we do pop-up shops, or when you go to different events or venues. However, it's still no excuse for us not to put our all into it and to try to build as many foundational relationships as we possibly can. And I talk a lot more about that on this channel, as well as on my podcast, which is the Brittney Bundles podcast. So if you're interested, please be sure to tune into that, take a listen, and you'll be able to not only hear my perspective on sales and business tips and techniques, but you'll also be able to hear other entrepreneurs on that platform as well, going over their experiences. So today's video is going to be going over how to make money from your newsletters. And I don't know where I'm going to insert the clip, if I'm going to insert it in the thumbnail or throughout this video, but the newsletter app or service that I'm using now through Shopify, it's an app that's through Shopify, I have not used throughout my entire entrepreneurial journey. I've used other marketing, email services and different applications and things like that. But this is the one that I am now currently using. The name is Cigano, but it is through Shopify. Don't know if they're through any other e-commerce platforms out there, or if they have partnerships with anyone else. But I do know that I am able to use them through my Shopify store by going to the App Store. Now, if you don't have Shopify and you are interested in switching over to Shopify, please click the link down below this video. Choose the plan that works best for you. And there may even be a free trial, but you have to click that link. So we're going to get right into the video. Before we do, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Please make sure that you are subscribed, and let's get right into the video. So I'm going to be looking down because I have my notes here on my lap. The first tip that I want to go over is find a balance and be consistent. When you are wanting to create or, looking to draft up your email marketing templates or email marketing newsletter to get ready to send out. When I'm mentoring and doing consultations with other people, one thing that I notice that a lot of people are missing is the consistency and the balance. So find balance and be consistent. This is what I was hinting on in the beginning of the video when I mentioned that I used to send out different newsletters, but my newsletters weren't as effective as they are now. And for anything that you do in business, consistency matters. You can have 1 month where you're going completely hard for your business. Let's just take YouTube for an example. If you're a content creator, you're making videos, and 1 month you're just popping them out. and then the next month you don't, you'll still get credit. In a sense, from people watching your previous videos. If you're monetized, a lot of times you'll still get paid on previous videos. However, you may notice a reduction in views. You may notice a reduction in subscribers. You may notice a reduction in how much you're actually getting paid, even though you're monetized. And so a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we get so comfortable because we put all of our energy without necessarily pacing ourselves into doing one thing with our business or multiple things with our business. And then when it comes time to look at the results or look at the fruit that our business has yielded, we're not seeing what we want to see. And that's because when you are running a business, I find that it works tremendously when you are constantly scheduling yourself and pacing yourself, and we are being consistent. Now, consistent doesn't mean that you have to create a newsletter every single day. I've made other videos on this channel as to why I don't recommend you create a newsletter every day and send it out, because a lot of times it can begin to be like spammy, and no one really wants to be bombarded with a whole bunch of emails or text messages or with anything. People want their respect, they want their privacy, but they still a lot of times want to know that you're still there. And so you have to kind of find that balance between your audience and figure out what your audience is looking forward to and how often you should send email newsletters for your audience. And that's going to take some trial and error. Every business is different. Everyone's audience is different. Everybody expects something different from different businesses. We have our basics where we expect, professionalism, and we expect to receive the things that we purchase and, stuff like that. But what I'm talking about is, for example, if I'm signed up for Victoria's Secret's email list, I know that they normally email me, I get an email very frequently from them, but I don't think that I get an email from them as much as I get emails from Walmart. I think Walmart sends more emails to me than I get from Victoria's Secret, or even like Children's Place may even send me more emails than I get from Victoria's Secret. Is there anything necessarily wrong with it? No. It could be because of how I have my preferences set up on my email. Some emails can be going to spam or junk or whatever the case may be. But it's still an expectation that I have from the company. And honestly, if I stop getting emails, I may forget about some of the merchants that I've shopped with before. I may forget about Victoria's Secret until I see it again. I may forget about the Children's Place or Walmart until I ride past or see it again. And so it's really important to try to stay relevant and remind your potential customers or your customers and clients of what you're offering, even if you're not offering a new product. Some people get stuck on not wanting to send out newsletters because they're like, there's nothing new that I have. When you don't have anything new to offer, become creative. I started doing Tip Tuesdays, where I would send out different tips on Tuesdays in regards to different hairstyles, or in regards to different like how-to things in relation to business, or in relation to hair in general. So I may do like a how to do a sew-in, or how to transform your bundles into clip-ins, or something like that. But it's still reminding them that I'm there, if that makes sense. So you want to make sure that you're finding a balance and you're being consistent and also being creative. If you don't have any new products and you don't want to do any Tip Tuesdays or anything like that, think about doing like a Fun Friday maybe, where you're offering discounts on the first 5 people that share your page on their social media, or something along those lines. But just something where you're constantly, I don't want, like, again, when I say constantly, I'm not saying daily, but when you're consistently, let me say that, not constantly, consistently, finding a schedule and a rhythm, and you're sticking to that to make sure that you're sending out those email newsletters to remind people that you're still relevant. If you're doing like a new podcast for your business, you may want to talk about that in one of your newsletters. You may want to talk about a video that you created on YouTube, or you may want to ask them to check out a new page that you updated on your website. Who knows? But become creative and don't feel like there's nothing that you can talk about or share because you don't have any new products. The second tip that I have is always lead to your website. So whenever you create a newsletter, always make sure that you have something that is leading back to your website. If you're doing a Tip Tuesday talking about different hairstyles, still have something leading back to your website where they can click on some part of your newsletter and it lands them on your website. If you're doing a Fun Friday, like I mentioned, and you're going to give an incentive or a discount for the first 5 people that share your social media pages, be sure to have some type of link that takes them to a page on your website that shares more information. The goal is to get as many people to your site as possible. Yes, we want people opening the newsletter. Yes, we want them reading it, but no, we don't want it to just stop there. We want them to actually take initiative, take some action, and click so that they can be directed to the website. Why do you want people on your website? Well, you want people on your website because that is where the initial option to purchase is going to be, especially if you're selling online. You want them to be able to see your products. You want them to be able to browse. You want them to be able to add different products to their cart. Even if they don't check out, that's still a step closer. And at that point, we can get their information as far as like their phone number or a different email address if they have a different one that they use that then they signed up with, and be able to contact them and know kind of like what they were looking at, because their abandoned carts will show what was in their cart. So if they added 3 bundles of Kinky Curly, at that point you have more of a tailored approach to be able to reach back out and check the status on that abandoned cart email. And I've gotten so many orders from that as well. So when we're looking at creating email newsletters, it's not just about sending a newsletter and getting a sale immediately. There's still footwork that goes behind it. But that gives us an opportunity to build more relationships, get a better understanding of what that person is looking for, and figure out how we can connect the dots, how we can help them get what it is they're wanting to get. Also helps us do discovery. If someone left a abandoned cart for those bundles, we may not know exactly why. A lot of times we don't know why unless they reach out and they tell us, or we reach out and they tell us. But initially, just with the abandoned cart email, there's still so much information that we can get. Why was it abandoned? Did the website glitch? Is it a money issue? Is it a texture issue? Are they not wanting that certain texture, but they couldn't find what they were looking for? Is it a length issue? Do they not have the lengths, or were they not able to see the lengths on the website? Just because we're familiar with our website does not mean that everyone else is. And a lot of times, lots of sales are lost because people don't take the time to really dive deep and figure out why the purchase wasn't completed. But when you are wanting to maximize your sales and your business, footwork a lot of times is required. The third tip that I have is advertised perks for enrolling. So in order to be able to get to the point where you're actually sending out newsletters and people are actually opening them, reading them, going to your website, adding things to their cart, purchasing, or doing like an abandoned cart, you want to make sure that you can build a good email list, because that's also a good part of it. It's kind of a numbers game. I'm not a numbers person, but you can look at this as a numbers game. Whereas more people that you have on your email mailing list, the more people that see your email, the higher percentage you might have of people actually opening that email. And then you may have more people that are actually going to not just open, but click the email. That means there are more people that may actually end up going to your website, and so on and so forth. So one way to get people to even go to or even want to, or find interest in enrolling in your mailing list is by offering them incentives. Now, when you do incentives or offer incentives, you don't necessarily have to always think of incentive as a discount. There's also incentives as far as people being able to know, or be the first ones to know what new products you're coming out with, or be the first ones to know what new updates your business is going to be doing, or be the first one to have an opportunity on your podcast if you have a podcast for your business, or the first one to be able to be entered into a raffle for free products or something like that, or samples. And so advertise perks for enrolling to get people interested in why they should enroll. A lot of times I see people saying, well, just enroll because, you just want to be in the loop. Well, why? What are they going to be in the loop for? What are they waiting for? What's in it for them? Sometimes as entrepreneurs, we forget to really outline what's in it for them. And we focus so much on what we want from them, but not really what they're going to get from doing it. So be sure to be conscious about that as well. The fourth tip that I have is schedule resend follow-ups for those who didn't open the email. So I'm so glad that I am using Cigano. This is not sponsored by them at all or anything like that. But Cigano has an option where they can automatically send an email or emails back to people that did not open after a certain amount of days. So let's say they sent an initial email and no one opened it, or, I don't want to say no one. Let's say 5 people didn't open, and, they have an option where I can choose in 3 days for those people to be resent an email and to open it again. And at that point, it kind of saves me time from having to go through and manually send out emails and manually look through and see who opened and who did not. But that's another way to capitalize on all of your newsletter subscribers instead of just focusing on, okay, well, I sent the newsletter blast out and 7 people opened it out of the 15, but oh well, you know, at least the 7 people got it. No, we want to make sure that we're capitalizing on that opportunity, and we're wanting as many people as we possibly can to see that email and to open it. So if it wasn't a good day for these 7 people, 3 days later, I'm going to try to resend it again. You want to be careful because you don't want to keep, you don't want to resend something that someone really doesn't want to open and they feel like they're being spammed again. But Cigano does a really great job with letting you know, like if you choose a date to send the email, they let you know like, okay, well, I don't recommend you sending it this date because of this, or I recommend you waiting until these, 3 days instead of 2 days, or whatever the case may be. So I really like that aspect about that app as well. And that really helps too with getting people engaged, like I mentioned before. Before you are looking at, I just want to sell, we have to look at the steps to get us there. That's like me saying I want to move to Florida. Great, but we also have to take the steps in order for me to be able to be in position to move to Florida. So I have to look at, what the housing market is in Florida. I have to look at how the schools are going to be. I have children. I have to look at the schooling. I have to look at, not just the housing market, but the area. I have to look at the commute because I want to go there and visit before I move completely. So I have to look at a lot of different things before I just go to Florida. You know what I mean? Or just move there. So that's kind of the same analogy when we're looking at I want to sell. I just want to sell. Well, what steps are you going to take? What information do you need to gather? What type of research do you need to do? How many people do you need to reach out to and build these connections with before you are focused on just getting the sale? Sale is great to focus on, but there's steps that we need to take in order to get us there. The last tip that I have is include recommendations, tips, resources, products, etc. So I touched on this in the beginning of the video when I mentioned that a lot of people have come to me and say, hey, I don't have any new products. I don't have anything to put in my newsletter. What am I going to talk about? Become creative. I talked about Tip Tuesdays. You can do different recommendations with the products that you're offering. You can do different resources. If you're good with TikTok, you can write a summary about the TikTok that you're going to post and have a link that takes them to your website to be able to read more about the TikTok or the reel that you created, and then a link that can actually take them to the TikTok or the reel that you created. Talk about different products that you have, whether they're new or not. Let's talk about a product that you've had for years. What else can we talk about that product? Or what else can we remind them that the product is good for? A lot of times people don't just, we know our business best because we are constantly working our business, but sometimes people forget what we're offering. They forget why they should purchase from us. They should get what the big benefit behind our business is. So it's our job to remind them. So those are 5 tips that I have that will really help with earning money through your newsletters. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to leave them down below. I do want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.